Tonight, the Beijing Olympics. The main focus of protests against Beijing has been on human rights abuses in Tibet. When the Olympic torch passed through the capital Lhasa recently, one group of Tibetan Australians in Sydney was watching in earnest. Here's Lisa Main.
This is what Tibetan exile groups didn't want to see. The Olympic torch being carried through the regional capital Lhasa. Secretary who announced, "We will certainly be able to totally smash the splittist scheme of the Dalai Lama clique."
Dolma believes the Communist Party are successfully doing this. Since the unrest in March this year, Amnesty International says 1,000 Tibetans who were detained remain unaccounted for.
Some family, 2-3 people missing. Some family, 1-2 missing. Some family, 1 missing. Some family, no missing the leg, missing the hand, missing somewhere bodies everywhere. And then they're going to take the torch. Who can say, club, yeah, you come here, welcome? Nobody said. I think if I live in Tibet, in my country, I had to say welcome to the torch. I can't.
And the gemmy piginal dromi top down many you don't know Zumbuling Olympic Deodilla, Nangwin, Tajikdum, Mogochiwa Jumzidins.
Dolma and Tenzin have both been political prisoners in Tibet. Tenzin was a child monk and spent a year in prison. Dolma was arrested with books and a recording of the Dalai Lama. She spent 3 years in prison.
The Chinese put so many thousands, hundreds of people in the prison. It's no reason. So that we always pray with the Dalai Lama early in the morning, and we sleep late, and the Dalai Lama, long love for the Dalai Lama for years and years. We always pray with him. But, that's why we survive from him. The Chinese food and condition, it's very bad. Very bad.
Earlier this evening, Tenzin phoned his family in Tibet.
It's very dangerous. If you talk to on the phone, something wrong, and then we all here, no problem. But who live in Tibet, finish.
Well, Dolma, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Can you understand why people want to, and athletes in particular, some athletes or the majority of athletes, want to keep politics out of the Olympics? Can you understand that?
I don't mind the Olympic. I'm no against the Olympic.
But you don't like the torch going through Tibet?
And they, who live in the Chinese people, when the earthquake, there's so many people died. They know human rights, and Tibet, I don't like it all. They're going to take the torch to the Tibet. I don't like. Why I don't like? In 2 months, from near the China and to Lhasa, how many people? 100,000 they kill it. How many people? It's continue they killing still, and then they go there. They just called some few Tibet people I saw in the TV. They just push them.
So you didn't like the display?
No.
You didn't like the way display around the torch relay?
No.
Sai Chung, you organised a bus of Chinese students to support the torch relay in Australia. Can you understand Dolma's feelings?
Oh, look, the Olympics is supposed to be an event that brings people from different parts of the world together in a harmonious way to compete against each other. And indeed, in every single country, whenever the Olympics are held, there are always disagreements. Even in Sydney, we saw that there were disagreements in terms of racial problems or environmental problems as well. So obviously I can see that there are disagreements with different groups within China, but in my opinion, Rome wasn't built in a day. China has gone through a lot of yards in improving themselves as a country in environmental issues, and I believe in human rights issues as well.
In human rights issues in Tibet?
Look, I believe that the Chinese government has been working really hard to promote and improve their image in all sorts of aspects, and there obviously are some criticisms and some concerns, and I think that it is good that there is this forum here all around the world and even within China as well to debate such issues, because that's how China and Tibet can move forward.
Well, we would have liked to have had the Chinese government here debating this tonight, but unfortunately nobody was willing to attend. And in fact, to be fair, I must say the Prime Minister was invited as well, and he's not here either. Geshe, you're also a Tibetan exile, and your niece was arrested just weeks ago in Tibet for taking part in a protest for religious freedom. Where is she now?
She's 28th May in the morning, 10 o'clock arrested, and she and the other two nuns. And total monks, nun, lay people, 200 arrested.
Do you know where she is now?
No,
so
at all. So
since the 28th of May, you haven't been able to
and also
find
some, my niece is on 2-3 weeks, but other families is arrested 3 months. There's still no information at all.
So how do you feel about the Olympics being held in China?
I think it's great. Really, Chinese is how many people in the billions population, and I think that's coming and everything's improving. And I wish always pray success in Beijing Olympics. If the athletes, their motivation is the result and exercise so much, many years prepare to that result to go to Beijing, that's right. But if human rights or something disaster, I must say something. Otherwise, I say I am a monk and religion, I don't care. Or athletes don't care. And then how?
So you expect the athletes to say something?
Definitely say something.
Michelle?
I think what's challenging in the Beijing Games is that Beijing was actually awarded the Olympics with a promise that human rights would improve and that there would be greater media transparency in the country. And that hasn't really come to fruition. Now, I'm definitely one to talk about the unifying qualities of the Olympics and how inspiring that is and how beautiful it is. And to bring people from all different cultures and all different walks of life to China is fantastic. But it's been politicised because of what Beijing promised when it was awarded the Games.
Paul Monk, you've been vocal about this as well. You're a former intelligence analyst. You've written a book about China. What do you think about that argument? Have the Games been politicised already by China itself?
The Games are a very political event for the Chinese Communist Party. We have to distinguish between China and the interest, compassion, brotherhood we might feel for the Chinese people, the interest we have in Chinese culture, and the political agenda of the Chinese Communist Party. Make no mistake, the party intends to hang on to power. Its human rights record is appalling over the long run. And at the moment, although there are statutes on the books under the Chinese Constitution guaranteeing rights to freedom of religion, of speech, of assembly, of the press, and even supposedly up to a point property, none of those, in fact, are defensible when party officials choose to violate them. None of them. There is no source of redress outside the party. That's what's at stake when we talk about human rights in China.
So should the Olympics be being held there?
It's not a case of if China is pristine and everything's fine, we should have the Olympics there, and if there are things that are wrong, we should not. The Olympics are about setting the bar high, but we should be under no illusion as to what the agenda of the Communist Party is in this. They're holding their banner high.
Bob Brown in Hobart, you've been very vocal in your criticism of China over Tibet, but hasn't the Beijing Olympics actually helped to shine a light on the situation in Tibet?
Well, it's had more of a light shine on it, but what's been the result? Tibet is at the moment as jailed and as suppressed as it's been for many a long year. And where's the world? Where's our own Prime Minister who spoke about the Australian people's concern for Tibet in Mandarin in Beijing just a few weeks ago? But now he's going to be sitting next to Hu Jintao, who presided over the last slaughter in Lhasa in the late 1980s well, he's going to be sitting next to him or close to him and in the same rank in the stadium on